What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. ClearTalk. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the health of our nation. And RFK, the HHS, CDC, legislation that is being moved through Florida. And man, this is concerning. Because when we talked about, well, first, this is concerning. We're going to talk about. So, if you're new here, if you want to check out more stuff from the channel, please do so. ClearTalk there, _JMD. If you want to check out other channels, that'd be amazing as well. Consider subscribing to them as well. JMD, my drum and music channel. JMDPLAY is video game channel, and JMD Puzzling is just a puzzling channel. If you would like, that'd be amazing. I would be ecstatic. If there's links there too as well, if you want to see any kind of support, any support given, it's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Okay, so when they were going through naming people in the cabinet, and we heard that RFK Jr. was going to be announced as, head of the HHS, and I said then, okay, this is concerning, but it depended upon what his intentions were going to be, what he concentrated on. Because, the biggest thing, everybody was like, this is a crazy anti-vax guy. He's going to mess up our nation. He's going to attack vaccinations and, ban them and all this kind of stuff, whatever, and I was like, well, I mean, maybe that might be something he attempts, but I don't, for one, don't see it happening. But secondly, if he just concentrates on maybe just trying to make the food better, like if he was to come in there and wanted to, do more regulations around different chemicals in our foods and things like that, and try to improve the overall quality of the food market, then I wouldn't really have that big of a problem with it, because I do think our food market, in our foods and the things that are allowed in them that are not allowed in almost pretty much any other country in the world. I mean, the U.S. is stupidly just open with the foods and what they are allowed in. Minimal regulations and restrictions. But yes, if he was to start messing around with vaccines and things like that, immunizations, research stuff and development with different things that they're working on through the cancer research and other stuff like that, we would certainly be needing to start worrying and demand for his resignation. Well, let me swap over here real quick. We have RFK Jr. hit by mass HHS revolt demanding his resignation. My computer keeps... Okay. As you may have seen or heard in the past week, we've had the new head of the CDC was fired, or attempted to be fired anyways, by RFK. Her name was Susan Menarez. I believe this is her. She just took over the CDC not a month ago, and he was already trying to fire her because she was not wanting to go along with his vaccine arguments and misinformation, basically. And she wasn't having it, and so he was trying to let her go. Her argument is that he does not have the authority to fire her, that only has to come from the president. Now I don't know where that's going to end up, but in along with the attempted firing of her, there have been like other directors of departments within the CDC and stuff that are just resigning. There's been like 4 or 5 of them just resign because of either the concerns over RFK's the concerns over health for the nation and what they're trying to demand, to political pressure, trying to force them to collaborate with people that other individuals that they are like vaccination critics and stuff like that that they think are a problem with. Will do nothing but detriment the health of the United States. Like there are a lot of issues that they are aren't agreeing with. And now, don't get me wrong, I guess they're just resigning before being fired because I guess they see the writing on the wall. I feel like it's kind of a cop-out personally for you to just quit and resign, because if you feel like this is a problem, then I feel like you would rather stay there and try to fight against it. So I don't know how to feel really with that. But anyway, we have this here. RFK Jr. hit by mass HHS revolt demanding his resignation. More than 1,000 current and former workers at the Department of Health and Human Services have signed a letter urging vaccine skeptic Robert F. Kennedy to resign as head of the agency for endangering the nation's health. The letter, addressed to the under fire health secretary, I'll say it right in a minute, and members of Congress, calls on Kennedy to step down while citing a series of controversies that have plagued HHS during his tenure. Among the concerns are his appointments of several vaccine skeptics and COVID-19 conspiracy theorists to top positions, his attempts to overhaul national vaccine policy, and his firing or forcing the resignations of numerous experts, including Susan Manares, the former head of the CDC. Should he decline to resign, we call upon the President and U.S. Congress to appoint a new Secretary of Health and Human Services, one whose qualifications and experience ensure that health policy is informed by independent and unbiased peer-reviewed science. We expect those in leadership to act while the health of America is at stake. The letter follows an early appeal from hundreds of HHS employees who accused Kennedy of putting everyday Americans in danger and spreading inaccurate health information in the aftermath of a gunman's attack on the CDC headquarters in Atlanta on August 8th. The workers further accused Kennedy and his Make America Healthy Again allies of deliberately sowing public mistrust in the CDC, which is something they've been doing for a while now, including calling the agency a cesspool of corruption. They also set a September 2nd deadline for Kennedy to stop disseminating false and misleading claims about vaccines and to ensure the safety of the HHS workforce. But Secretary Kennedy continues to endanger the nation's health, the latest letter states, before outlining several examples. These include attacking the American Academy of Pediatrics for recommending COVID-19 vaccines for children and discrediting HHS by claiming last month that trusting experts is not a feature of either science or democracy. Okay. In response, HHS communications director Andrew Nixon told the Daily Beast, Kennedy has been clear the CDC has been broken for a long time. Restoring it as the world's most trusted guardian of public health will take sustained reform and more personal changes. From his first day in office, he pledged to check his assumptions at the door, and he asked every HHS colleague to do the same. Is that so? The letter arrived just days after 9 former CDC directors published a scathing op-ed in the New York Times condemning Kennedy's firing of Menarez, who clashed with him over vaccine policy before being dismissed after only a few months, and described her ousting as unlike anything we have ever seen at the agency and unlike anything our country had ever experienced. They also hit out Kennedy for downplaying the importance of measles vaccinations and amid outbreaks of the disease, firing thousands of federal health workers and ending U.S. support for global vaccination programs. I mean, they've been trying to defund everything when it comes to health. He pushed for completely defunding and shutting down mRNA research. I mean, which is the research that was like mainly based around, or the push for it was to try to find a cancer vaccine. Like that's where the COVID-19 vaccine, why it was so fast to be produced, because we were already working on a vaccine in that vein where they could easily just change what they were doing and push it in the direction for the COVID issue, which has allowed us to get the rapid response and the rapid, shots out. It wasn't something that they literally developed within months. It was developed of over a decade of work that had already been done. So it wasn't new stuff. It wasn't new science. I mean, in the grand scheme of decades, yes, you consider it new science, but it wasn't like something that was literally just created within a year, where all your skeptics of the COVID-19 vaccine was like, this stuff has not even been studied. It's not even been, they just created this and they're throwing it in you. There's no telling what's in it. We've already talked about this before back then, that, that was not the case. So yeah, they're shut down that they're trying to shut down that program. A new method for creating vaccines, motivated in trying to find a cancer vaccine, trying to eradicate cancer. The group called Kennedy's actions unacceptable and warned that they should alarm every American regardless of political leanings. Trump himself has acknowledged the turmoil surrounding Kennedy's leadership, writing on Truth Social Monday that the CDC is being ripped apart over disagreements about vaccines. So we have all these concerns. People are concerned. They're calling for his resignation. You have arguments going on in the CDC over him coming in, spreading all kinds of lies, trying to force the workers to work on things that they deem or they feel are not in the best interest of our nation's health. Trying to collaborate with vaccine skeptics type scientists or whatever, or I may not even be scientists. I don't even know. And, causing people to resign, trying to fire people because they don't agree with him. Yeah, this is a problem. And this is the kind of stuff I was talking about. He you know, if he stuck, I said, if he stuck to working on our food industry and stuff like that, I probably would not have had a problem, because I kind of agree with him on a lot of that stuff. But when it comes to the vaccine stuff and things, like vaccines have been one of the biggest, if not the biggest, reason for diseases that were plaguing the whole entire world, for that matter. Not just 100 years ago, have been decreased dramatically. Some completely eradicated, and it has improved the health and the longevity and the lifespan of on average of humanity at large, and even more so specifically for the United States and our nation. And yet you have him coming in because he has all the, and this is a guy that's doing all these wild ass other things, injecting himself with what blue dye shit or whatever, and all kinds of stuff that like he thinks he's juiced up on all kinds of hormones and things or whatever to make himself as muscular as he is at his age. And I mean, it's all kind. This is the, and here we have this. Florida moves to end all school vaccine mandates. First in nation to do so. So just today, on Wednesday, Florida Surgeon General on Wednesday announced plans to end all state vaccine mandates, including for children to attend school, which would make it the first state to completely withdraw from a practice credited with boosting vaccination rates and controlling the spread of infectious diseases. Speaking at a news conference outside Tampa with Governor Ron DeSantis, Surgeon General Joseph A. Lapido, I think I say his name, said that every vaccine mandate is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Lapido's stance on vaccines and other measures intended to protect Floridians have drawn criticism from public health experts and advocates. There are a handful, maybe a half dozen vaccines that are mandated, he said. So those are going to be gone for sure. We need to end it. It's the right thing to do. DeSantis, who endorsed the move, said his administration can unilaterally end some vaccine mandates, but the rest would require changes from the legislature. The Trump administration and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the founder of an anti-vaccine organization, has been pushing to upend U.S. vaccine policy. Florida's move underscores the deepening political fault lines over vaccines, a divide certain to polarize parents, communities, lawmakers, and health providers across red and blue states. This is that dumbass here, Lapido. California, Oregon, and Washington states led by Democrats on Wednesday announced they were forming an alliance to coordinate their own immunization guidelines and preserve access to vaccines. And the news conference, DeSantis also announced a Florida version of Make America Healthy Again, a reference to Kennedy's slogan, an agenda to address the root cause of chronic disease and children illness such as nutrition. So yeah. All states in the District of Columbia have vaccination requirements to attend public school, while exceptions vary state to state. In Florida, students without exemptions are generally required to be immunized against illnesses such as measles, mumps, polio, chickenpox, and hepatitis B. These are some pretty serious vaccines here. Pretty serious illnesses that immunizations protect from. Public health experts immediately condemned Florida's move to lift the vaccine mandates. When everyone in school is vaccinated, it's harder for disease to spread and easier for everyone to keep the fun and learning going. American Academy of Pediatrics President Susan Chrisley said in a statement, "We are concerned that today's announcement by Governor Ron DeSantis will put children in Florida public schools at higher risk for getting sick and have rippling effects across their community." In Miami-Dade County, the state's most populous county, which has veered more Republican in recent years, the head of the teachers union said he was deeply concerned by the announcement. For decades, school vaccination requirements have played a critical role in keeping our classrooms safe and healthy. Weakening these requirements would put children, families, and our educators at greater risk of preventable illness outbreaks. Florida Representative Fentrice Drexel, I'm not sure how I got that right, who leads the party's caucus in the state house, called the move stunningly reckless and said that DeSantis wants to trade the health of kids for media headlines. Lapido has been widely criticized for public health experts and advocates for opposing mainstream health guidance. He called for a halt to use mRNA coronavirus vaccines last year, citing debunked claims that the shots could contaminate a patient's DNA. He became the first statewide health official to urge communities to stop adding fluoride to drinking water, a practice widely credited for improving oral health. Trump's transition team considered Lapido to serve as HHS secretary before selecting Kennedy. Oh, I don't think either one of them would have been worth a shit. So yeah. So after, we had like a pretty significant, measles outbreak in, I think, Texas. In a community where vaccination rate was very low. It had been a practice for people to not get vaccinated. And a measles outbreak happened. It had been the largest measles outbreak in decades. We see that and we go, that's what I want. Florida sees that and like, that's what we want here. Now, they probably will frame this in the idea of like freedom. Like giving you the freedom to make the choice. Which is all fine and dandy. I think it's all fine and dandy. If you want to make the choice to not vaccinate your kids, and that's perfectly fine. But when it comes to public service, public schools, there should be requirements. Now, if you don't want to vaccinate your kids and send them to a private school, so be it. Do whatever you want. That's your freedom, your right, whatever. When it comes to a public school, though, no. There should be mandates. There should be requirements, especially for your major vaccines, which most of the time, that's all it is. There are exceptions for minor ones that, are not like health critical. But I mean, it's funny to me that we have some, that's like one big thing that a lot of parents oftentimes have to worry about is, oh my goodness, keeping my household healthy, keeping from, even just common colds and things like that. The kids, when we're talking about daycares, in school and stuff like that, trying to keep, do what we can to try to keep them from getting sick and getting other people sick, bringing it home, and then us taking it and getting other people sick. Like the idea is it's already hard enough trying to manage just simple things like the common cold, like the flu, like strep, things that we don't really have a way of just flat out stopping, at least not 100%, or even, a high percentage, effective percentage. But then you top on that, now we have to be concerned with, an outbreak of potentially measles, chickenpox. Lo and behold, polio somehow starts coming back into play. I mean, I think we're so, or even hepatitis B. I think we're so, some people in this country are so far removed from the effects of some of these diseases that they just don't realize how critical it is for us to protect ourselves from it as a society, and do what we can to do so. And while I completely understand the argument that some vaccines have had negative effects in rare cases, the overarching concept there is that we are protecting the majority of people, though, with them. When without them, there is no protection. And that's a concern. Now, granted, this type of action will more than likely take some time to really start to show itself. But ultimately it will. And we're talking something that's going to start to threaten, our younger children first, the next generations, if allowed to happen and stay in place. And it certainly looks like it's more of a concern over media headlines, a political, ploy than it is actually being about public health. Whether we're talking about DeSantis or this Lapido or JFK or RFK, sorry, I don't want to hate on or disrespect JFK. Or Trump, or any of their lackeys and people who, clearly are not merited in their positions. Talk about DEI. This is a problem. And it's amazing to me. You're worried about trying to shut down all these things, trying to shut down research, shut down vaccines, shut down departments for defund Medicaid, defund SNAP. We're trying to eliminate, schools lunches. We're trying to apparently eliminate, healthy environments in our schools. I mean, what the fuck are we letting happen here? But yet, this is the party who cares about the kids. We're concerned for the life of our kids. That unborn fetus. I said it before. They want to make sure they force you to have it, force it to be an actual life and existence, force it to be here, force it to add the number to the population. But once it's here, they don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. And they will make it harder for them to live healthy, successfully, to be successful, to learn successfully, and even make it hard on those who are trying to help them learn successfully, and for them to be healthy and to prosper as young adults into adulthood, into the society at large. They don't care. They just don't care. They'd rather loosen up work regulations so that they can put them back to work. Put them to work at an earlier age. 15, 14. Got to get them back in the factories and the mines and get them back, making money for the family so that the family can stop asking for money and support from us. Because we don't do that. Along with all the other crises that we are worried about with its administration, this is just another one in the basket that we have to keep on top of, keep paying attention to, keep fighting for, keep rallying for, getting to those locations, speaking our truths, and standing against this just ridiculousness. Let me know what you think. Do you think we're in a health concern, crisis? Do you think RFK is a problem? Do you think he's creating a problem? Do you think he's right? Do you think Florida's move is the right move? Do you think it will just create a domino effect of states like Florida, lessening the health care of our communities? Thank you very much. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that's all for this video. Peace. Clear Talk with love. I'm out.